Am I the a-hole for refusing to reconcile with my toxic sister after years of drama? Let's call me Jessie, female, now in my 30s, have an older sister, Kathy, who is 10 years older than me. From the outside, we grew up in what people would call a good family. My sister was the golden child, athletic, smart, outgoing, always admired by relatives and neighbors. I was younger, quieter, more in her shadow. When I was 8, my dad took a trip to visit relatives in another country, and Kathy went with him. What was supposed to be a short trip turned into something permanent. At only 18, she decided to stay there, leaving my dad to come back alone. I didn't really grasp the situation at the time, but I'll never forget how heartbroken my mom was. Her firstborn daughter had chosen to stay thousands of miles away, and my mom was devastated. Years later, when I was a teenager, my family made the big decision to move permanently to that same country. My mom was ecstatic. She thought this was her chance to reconnect with Kathy after so many years apart. I was excited too, since I barely knew her by then. But things didn't turn out the way we imagined. By then, Kathy had a fiancé. We lived in a different state but would drive long hours just to see her. And the visits weren't strange. We were only allowed to be there when her fiancé wasn't home, and the moment he was on his way back, she would rush us out, saying he didn't like visitors. My mom often went to help her, cleaning, running errands, but the way Kathy acted, it felt like she was embarrassed of us. Like we weren't good enough for the life she wanted to project. She eventually married, a simple courthouse wedding, and had a baby. But the same cycle continued. She only called when she needed something. My mom, desperate to be part of her life, became her unpaid babysitter and housekeeper, only to be pushed aside again once Kathy no longer needed her. When her marriage fell apart, Kathy called us crying, begging for help. I drove hours to pack her up and bring her and the baby home. She hadn't even told her husband she was leaving. At the time, my family lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. My parents literally gave up their bedrooms so she and her baby would be comfortable. My mom slept with her, woke up through the night with the baby, and took over childcare during the day so Kathy could study for her nursing exams. Even when my parents later bought a house, they gave her the master bedroom. She refused it because it didn't have a bathtub. She kicked me out of the shared bathroom entirely so she could have full control. If I dared to complain, she'd accuse me of being selfish or not helping enough. The truth is I was helping walking the baby, cleaning, babysitting when I could, but I was also a college student. I wasn't her co-parent. The constant fights drained all of us. My dad even stopped fixing up the house because she always complained about the noise. Despite graduating and working as a nurse, Kathy refused to contribute financially, saying she needed to save for her own place. My parents let it slide because they wanted her to succeed, but the resentment in the house was overwhelming. Eventually, my parents sold the house, and we all moved into separate apartments in the same complex. Did that solve things?
No.
My mom practically became Kathy's full-time nanny. She woke up at 4 a.m. every day, went to Kathy's place by 5 a.m. to watch my niece, went to work for a full shift, came back to relieve the babysitter, and stayed until late at night before finally going home to collapse in bed. She repeated this every single day and still did weekends so Kathy could go out. My mom was exhausted, but Kathy never acknowledged it. She just demanded more. Meanwhile, Kathy began openly admitting she wanted to find a man who could fully support her so she could live a comfortable, stay-at-home lifestyle. She wanted gyms, salons, vacations, not love or true partnership. My mom was stunned, since she had raised us to value independence and hard work. Fast forward. I grew up, graduated, moved abroad for a while, got married, had my own child, and eventually came back. By then, Kathy had a second child with another man, and that relationship also failed. She bought a townhouse, but even then, she kept spreading bitterness. She constantly claimed my parents did everything for me and nothing for her, which couldn't be further from the truth. She told people she raised her kids with no help, despite the fact that my mom practically sacrificed her health and time for those kids.
Her toxicity didn't stop.
She'd mock me for staying with our parents during college, criticize my choices, and even pressure me to date much older men just because they were doctors. She never once apologized for anything. Whenever I tried to distance myself, I'd eventually give in just to keep peace for my mom's sake, because I knew how much it hurt her to see us estranged. But her behavior only got worse. She started drinking heavily, even in inappropriate situations, like the time she brought alcohol into the hospital room after my mom's surgery. She constantly demanded money, never recognizing how much we'd already done for her. Then came my divorce. It was one of the hardest times in my life. But instead of supporting me, Kathy shamed me relentlessly. She called me a cheater because I started seeing someone before the divorce papers were finalized, even though she herself had cheated in her own marriage. She even tried to sabotage me by giving my ex-husband the name of the attorney I was planning to hire, knowing that once he contacted them, I couldn't use them. That betrayal cut me deeply. That was my breaking point. I went no contact. When I eventually remarried, I made the choice not to invite her. I didn't want her negativity poisoning such a special day. My parents came, and afterward Kathy attacked them, saying they should have refused to attend since she wasn't invited. She even blamed my mom for causing our estrangement. That was it. I told my mom clearly, I am done. I will never reconcile with Kathy. She has disrespected me, my husband, my children, and even my parents, who gave her everything. My husband also doesn't want her anywhere near our family because he's seen firsthand how toxic she is. And yet, my mom still hopes we'll reconcile someday. I know it hurts her to see her daughters estranged, but I can't do it anymore. I can't let Kathy back into my life just to repeat the same cycle of manipulation, cruelty, and betrayal. So, am I the whole for refusing to reconcile with my sister, even if it breaks my mom's heart?